I know I've said this before, I'll say it again. People buy the way you sell before they buy what you sell. For that reason, this is the way I work is a magic phrase. I urge you to develop your own this is the way I work talk. That's the talk you're going to have with your prospects before you try to sell them anything. Now, your this is the way I work talk will get prospects to relax and engage with you rather than resist you. Once they bought the way you sell, the way you're going to work together, prospects will be willing to work with you on a calendar basis and they'll never ghost you again. Wouldn't that be nice? In The Accidental Salesperson, I tell my Bob Voss story. Mr. Voss was a new general manager at the Shapey Conway Dodge dealership in Madison, Wisconsin. Bob got to town and he immediately canceled all of the dealership's radio and TV advertising. Then he gave each sales rep a 20-minute meeting to repitch the annual schedules he just canceled. He scheduled those meetings back to back to back. My meeting happened to be set for 1:20 p.m. That meant I was the 11th rep he'd seen that day. At 1:20, Mr. Voss's door opened and the rep with the 1 o'clock meeting staggers out, looking all flustered, shaking his head. And I walked into his office. I started to introduce myself and shake hands. Hi, Mr. Voss, I'm Chris. He cut me off. Sit down and pitch me for my 1:20 meeting. Well, I knew I had to match his intensity. I said, I don't know if you should be on our station or not, sir. What do you mean? Well, this is the way I work. My clients want my ideas and customized schedules designed to meet their sales and growth goals, not mine. So I don't pitch anything unless I know the outcomes they're looking for. And in your case, I won't pitch anything. I know what your plans are for turning around this dealership. And then I gestured to his credenza, which was covered with the 10 media kits left behind by the salespeople who'd already had their 20-minute meetings with Mr. Voss. And I said, Mr. Voss, have you had any intelligent presentations so far today? And he slumped in his chair. I said, Chris, this has been the most boring day of my life. Well, Mr. Voss, call me Bob, he said. Okay, Bob, tell me what you're trying to accomplish here. I know you've already turned around Dodge City and Milwaukee. And he opened up and started sharing his plans. Well, our 20-minute meeting lasted an hour and 20 minutes. When it was over, Bob opened the door to usher me out. There were 4 salespeople, all competitors, in the lobby waiting for their meeting. See you next week, Bob, I said to him. Thanks, son, he said, patted me on the shoulder. I smiled and nodded to the salespeople in the lobby. I may have winked at him, I don't know. And I said, good luck, folks. 2 weeks later, Bob was my second biggest client. He bought a lot of advertising from me, but not until he bought into the way we were going to work together. Even though he ordered me to pitch him, I wouldn't do it until I understood what he wanted to accomplish. People buy because we understand them, not because we make them understand what it is we're selling. Okay, if your sales process requires more than one meeting, start the process with your own, this is the way I work talk. Because you've got to be in a sales conversation with your prospects long enough to build your credibility, earn their trust, and make an intelligent presentation. Now, I'm not saying that my this is the way I work presentation is the perfect one for you. You need to craft your own using mine as a model. British sales trainer Chris Jones says, selling is earning the right to make a recommendation. So you might say to a prospect, this is the way I work. I'm trying to earn the right to make a recommendation to you about how to improve your plan. With that in mind, let's have a conversation so that I can learn if there are ways that I may be able to help you, knowing, of course, up front that there may not be a fit. Would you be open to that? Don Beveridge was an early influence on my sales career and my sales philosophy. And he used to tell clients, I will not ask for your business until I can give you a plan to improve it. Just like work on your "this is the way I work" talk. Practice it, memorize it, adapt it to the prospects you're working with. Use it and use it a lot. Because, have I already mentioned this? People buy the way you sell before they buy what you sell. Talk soon.